Dear friends in Jesus Christ, today we are in the 24th Sunday of Year B. The Gospel of today is taken from St. Mark chapter 8 and verses from 27 to 35. This passage is a very rich passage. The whole passage talks about the discipleship. We can divide this passage into three sections. First, declaration of St. Peter. Second, two rebukes. And third, condition to follow Christ. Let us reflect them in brief. Jesus asks his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" Jesus did not ask this question because he did not know who he was. He asked this question because he really wanted to know whether people have perceived him rightly or not. They answered that some people say that he is John the Baptist, some Elijah, and others say that he is one of the prophets. We must note that John the Baptist and Elijah were known as prophets who stood against the corrupted political leaders. They are also known as national reformers. Prophets were also denouncing the evil and announcing the good. Thus, the perception of the people are towards political. But when Jesus posed this question personally to the disciples, Peter answers that Jesus was Christ, the Messiah. Christ is a Greek word and Messiah is a Hebrew word. Both the words Christ and Messiah mean the same thing. It means the anointed one. This anointed one will accomplish the will of God. Jews believed that this anointed one would bring a new age of peace and goodness which would last forever. So the question for us is, whom do we consider as anointed one today? Can you and I become an anointed one for the world? What must we do to become an anointed one, the one who does the will of God? Jesus answers these questions in the following passage. As Jesus continues to teach them, he tells them that he has to suffer. He has to be killed, and then on the third day he would rise again. Hearing this, Peter rebukes Jesus because for Peter, Christ, the Messiah, is the strongest person and not the weakest one. So he could not accept it. Thus, Peter rebukes Jesus. The term rebuke is a strong word and was used in the situations of casting out the demons and calming the sea, etc. After Peter rebuking Jesus, now Jesus rebukes Peter. He says, "Get behind me, Satan." Though Jesus identifies Peter with Satan, the importance to be given here is to the words, "Get behind me." Because this is the teaching that Jesus wanted to teach Peter and to us. Peter wanted Jesus to follow his wish. Peter wanted Jesus to be behind him. Peter wanted to lead Jesus. By telling, "Get behind me," Jesus says, "Peter, you must follow me. I will lead you." This gives a definition of Satan. Anyone who wants to be ahead of Jesus, ahead of God, is a Satan. Anyone who wants God to be behind him or her is a Satan. Many times we wanted things as per our wish. Even we expect God to act as per our wish and desires. Jesus tells us, "Get behind me." Do not become a Satan. Get behind me. This is a call to follow him. This is a call to discipleship. What are the situations of our life calls us to get behind Christ and how? And now Jesus instructs how to get behind him, how to follow him. He says, if anyone wishes to follow him, must deny himself, take up the cross and follow him. Disciples were not happy when they heard that Jesus has to suffer and die. Now Jesus tells them that they, disciples too, have to do the same. Today we have spiritualized and ritualized the cross. But at the time of Jesus, cross was for punishment. Cross was an instrument for death. Cross was a symbol of shame. These were the purposes of cross and nothing else. Take up your cross and follow me is to say, walk with me to die. Denying oneself is to surrender completely to the will of God. Denying oneself is to live as other-centered person. Person who is ready to die lives the life to the fullest. Person who lives the life for others lives his life meaningfully. What are our attachments forbid us from denying ourselves and taking up our crosses? Dear brothers and sisters, the gospel of today calls us to look into our life radically and deeply. Amen.